We're up on YouTube. And I think we're good on Facebook. All right. You probably don't look at that, do you? All right. So here we are, and the sun is shining, and it's a beautiful day. And it's almost 9:30. It's almost 9:30. I actually had my act together today. Mostly. What do you know? All right. Just another minute or so. Trying to see who's popping in. Hello on YouTube. Hello on YouTube. Camera, screen. So anyway, we're close enough. I'll start gabbing. So we're starting a 5-day, 15-minute yoga challenge on Monday. So basically, if you haven't done it before, what the deal is that I send out either an email or there's a Facebook group that I put posts in each day. And it's a 15-minute class from start to finish. Not asking any more than that. I send it out first thing in the morning. I practice first thing in the morning. So that's when I send it out. But you can do it whenever, right? So I'm not much of a morning person. So if you're not either, I get it. And you do it in the evening, right? Or maybe you take a break at work in the middle of the day, and you do it then. So whenever it fits into your schedule, it's 15 minutes. You can't tell me you don't have 15 minutes for yourself, right? And if you don't have 15 minutes for yourself, you need to make 15 minutes for yourself to do whatever, right? But so you get it in when it fits, right? And then at the end of the day, I send out a little reminder or just a message to sort of like, how did that go, right? Where did you fit it in? Was that the right place? Should you have done it earlier or later? And you kind of, again, make it your own. And it's only 5 days, right? If you'd like more, we can talk about that after the fact. But it's just a way to sort of ease you into a daily practice. So that's the intention. And what you take from it, of course, is it's all good, right? Whether it becomes a daily practice or not. Can't hurt to get 5 days of yoga in. So that's happening this coming Monday. Make sure you contact me if you want in any number of ways. And I think that's all I have about that. Today, we're just going to get an all-around practice. Right? Get some twists, get some folds, get some back bends, right? A little bit of everything. If you have a wall available to you, maybe set up by your wall. And because we'll use it. It's not necessary to use it if you don't have anything near you, but we'll use it as a prop if you do. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Sitting obviously. I hope my voice still is holding out. So we're aligning the heels to the groin as much as possible, right? If your feet are far away from you, if they're a little bit separated, is what it is, right? Sitting up on a block if you need a block, of course, so that the pelvis can be upright. So then lifting the pelvic floor, pulling the lower belly in and up, sitting tall through your sides. Try and relax your shoulders. Go ahead and close your eyes. And then just take the bottom tips of your ears back a little bit until you feel the weight of your head right over those shoulders. And that should feel really good. And just take a moment. Notice if you're squeezing places you don't need to squeeze, like this inner hip sometimes likes to squeeze up a little bit to help you sit upright. See if you can relax it and still stay sitting up. If your arms have to be working to hold on to your knees, that's fine, but see if you can relax into your shoulders. So just noticing all these tiny little details of things that we totally take for granted every minute of every day. Just becoming aware of patterns. Noticing whether those patterns are right for you or not so much. Observing your breath. Same idea. Kind of watching what normally, naturally happens. We want to expand into the breath, creating a nice full yoga breath. So the inhales are a little bigger, the exhales are a little bit more complete. And just find a breath that is a little bit more than comfortable. Right? So just a little bit bigger than comfortable. And keeping the focus on the breath, regardless of what your body is or isn't doing. So if there's a pose that you absolutely cannot breathe like this in, it's too much. Keeping what we have here, let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides, and with the next inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. Exhaling, bring them back down again. We'll do that again, inhaling up. Exhaling down. One more time. Inhale, come back to the top. And then exhale, just the right hand back to the mat. Give yourself a little tip over to that side. Keeping the pelvis rooted. Extend long up the left side of the body. And on your next inhale, bring it back up to the top and switch, taking the left hand down. Exhale. Big breath in, open up that right side. And then back up to the top again. Over to the right. Taking a little deeper stretch this time if you can. And then inhale back to center. And we'll take it one last time over to the left. Back up to the middle, inhale. And exhale the arms. Taking the right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind the back. Itty bitty easy twist over toward the left here. Sitting tall. And again, noticing your habits. Right? Where in the spine do you twist the most? Notice if the pelvis is not maybe so upright. And then releasing that, let's come back to the middle. Take the second side, same idea, nice and gentle. And then releasing back to center again. So this time adding on to that, right? Think about the pelvis being upright, the spine being really tall, maybe a little bit more even through the spine. So right hand back to the left knee, left hand back behind the body. Pulling against the knee maybe helps a little bit. Sometimes it just makes this right shoulder drop forward. So if that's not working out, don't worry about it. Right? But notice if you can add in, right? So if you mostly twisted through your shoulders, see if you can move that down into, like, say, around your rib cage. Right? Imagine turning your belly button. It's not going to move really. The pelvis is level. Maybe looking over the shoulder. Again, just making it a little bit more even through the spine. Let's release that. Come on back to the middle. Do the same thing over to the second side. So take your time finding it, right? And you may want to set up completely differently if you only used one area of the body, or you might want to start there and see if you can add or adjust or tweak it a little bit. And each side's a little different, so just kind of go with it. And then releasing that back to the middle. Let's bring the hands to the knees. So here we're going to inhale, draw the shoulder blades together on the back and lift the chest toward the ceiling. Exhaling as we round, think forehead to belly button. It's obviously not going to make it there. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, round. Taking a few more flows like that, just like with the twist, notice if you can be a little bit more even through the spine. Let's take one more flow. And then we'll find that neutral spine again. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Taking the fingers, like you would interlace your fingers, we're going to interlace fingers with toes. So see if you can wind them in there. I know it's not the easiest thing to do. Try to get all the way in, if you can. And if you can't, do what you can. Same idea on the second side. And if you wear shoes with that are tight in the toes, this is probably really challenging. So, like I say, do what you can. And then bring the soles of the feet together as much as you can. This might be plenty of stretch, right? Try to relax that inner hip so the knees relax toward the floor. You don't have to touch. If you want a little bit more sensation here, you can bend your elbows and think bringing your belly button towards your heels. Keep the shoulders together on the back so that you're leading more with the front of your body rather than just rounding over. One more nice big breath. And then on an inhale, go ahead and make your way back up. Release your toes, but see if you can keep them flexed a little bit so that they stay a little bit separated. So the feet are flexed, the toes are pointing toward the ceiling. We're still upright on the pelvis. If your knees must be bent here, they are. Okay. Otherwise, legs straight without locking, of course. Sit nice and tall. We're going to reach the arms up, hinge forward, and find your first fold. So now you may stay with your hands on your knees, right? Or maybe sliding down toward your shins. Wherever you start, see if you can release into it a little bit. So again, we want to think about the spine being long and neutral. Once you're there, see if you can just gently bring yourself a little bit deeper. And don't worry about it if you never touch your toes. Doesn't matter. And remember that your yoga poses do not have to be perfectly static, right? You'll feel some adjustment and let it happen. We're going to take one more breath here. And on the next inhale, come on out of that. Release your arms. And we'll bring ourselves around onto all fours. So hands and knees here. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Think about your hands nice and even on the floor. Try not to dump all of the weight into the wrist. The belly's engaged, supporting the lower back. The shoulders are neutral on the back, right? So we're not sagging or pushing away from the floor, right in that middle space. And then from here, Go ahead and extend your right leg straight back. Heel in line with the hip. So we don't want to just hike the hip to lift the leg. See if you can just use your glute and your hamstring, press through that heel, make it like you're standing up. From there, the left arm is forward, and we try and stretch into this nice long line. Let's go ahead and release that back down, and we will switch. So take the left leg back, and when you're ready, the right arm forward. And then release that side. So we're going to add on to that. I'm going to turn for just a second here. So going back to the right leg and left arm, we're going to add in movement then. So with your breath, on an exhale, draw your elbow and knee together in the middle. Give it a squeeze. Inhale, extend away. And then exhale the arm over to the left and the leg around to the right. And inhale back to the middle. So that's how we're going to flow. Exhaling, elbow and knee together. Give it a squeeze. Inhale, stretch away. Exhale out to the sides. Inhale back to the center. Let's do one more like that. Squeeze it in. Extend out. Take it to the sides. Back to center. And then release it into all fours. All right? So same idea on the second side here. Go ahead and extend the left leg and the right arm. When you're ready with the breath, exhale together. Inhale away. Up to the sides. Back to the middle. So with your breath, continue to flow. We got one more. When you're back to center here, just go ahead and release, hand and knee to the mat. And then nice and easy down into a child's pose. And because this is your first one, and anytime you're in child's pose, of course, you can make it yours, right? So you can stack your fists, you can open your knees, you can use a prop. You can take your hands back by your heels. Just make it like the most comfortable thing you've ever done. So then from our child's pose, we're going to keep the arms stretched away, lift into a kneeling plank and hold. So take a moment here, just like we did on our all fours. Four corners of the hands, shoulders neutral on the back, the belly's in. Right? You can absolutely stay on your knees if you'd like. Otherwise, lift those knees away from the floor and just simply hold a plank. Keeping the pelvis in line. Try not to get droopy or have your butt stick out. And then lifting the hips, let's come to down dog. And just like with everything, allow yourself to kind of sink into it, settling, wiggling a little bit first, maybe adjusting where your hands and feet are. Thinking about the four corners of the hands. Stretch into those heels, even if they don't come anywhere near the floor. Press down. And then with the breath here on an inhale, slide forward into a plank. Exhale back to down dog. Take a couple more like that, just forward and back. One more time. When you're back in your down dog, just go ahead and drop down to the knees. Take a little break in child's pose. And back to down dog. So pretty much just like with everything, we're going to add on to that.
So if that was intense enough, you can absolutely stay just forward and back, nice and simple. You can even be on your knees, forward and back, if that's where you need to be. Otherwise, see about lifting your right leg. Heel in line with the hip here. We don't need to hike it high, keeping the pelvis level. Make sure your belly's working. Inhale, slide forward into a three-legged plank. And then exhale back to your down dog. So forward and back like that. And again, modify if you need to. Drop that knee. We got one more. Back to down dog. And release the right foot. Let's take a little mini break down on the knees into child's pose. Back to down dog. Second side, so you know where we're going. Lift the left leg. Slide forward, inhale. Exhale, back to down dog. Twice more. Keep the belly working. I forget. One more or not. When you're back to down dog, go ahead and drop the toes, drop the knees, and take your child's pose. It's pretty bad. So let's go back to our down dog. And walk the feet forward to come to standing fold. So stepping to the top of the mat and placing your feet hip bone distance apart, toes point forward. If you're still feeling a little tight here, the hands are where the hands are, right? So maybe, again, you don't touch your toes and that's not the end of the universe. Just kind of walk around into it a little bit though. Bend in one knee, press into the opposite heel, and switch sides. So bend the knees enough to bring your belly to your thighs. That might be a lot, might be a little, whatever. Take the arms and wrap them behind your legs. And then squeeze the belly to the thighs, right? Try not to squeeze your knees together, but squeeze the belly to the thighs. And if the legs can be straight here, lovely. If not, don't worry. Let your head hang wherever you are. Get a nice stretch up the back side of the body. And then release the arms, leaving the legs straight or bent, wherever you need to be. Fingers interlace behind the lower back. Pulling the shoulder blades together on the back. Stretch the knuckles away and let them lift up off your lower back if they will. Keep pulling shoulders closer and closer together on the back, keeping them away from your ears. And then release the arms. Taking the hands to the thighs, lifting up halfway-ish. So ideally here, your upper body is parallel to the floor. And just like when we were on hands and knees, the shoulders stay back, the belly stays in. We've got this nice neutral spine. You can lean as much as you need to lean with your hands on your legs. Right? So keep that in mind. If it's okay, see about taking your arms down the sides of your body. So the forearms are hugging the hips, shoulders are in that neutral position, palms face down, head in line with the spine, maybe extend the arms out to the sides. So you're going to find a place where your body starts going no, right? We bend and we round, and So if it's too much, you take it back. If it's really no big deal at all, you can stretch the arms forward, arms alongside the ears, and not to droop your head to make that happen. If you find yourself leaning back or bending into the knees, forget it. Take the arms into that other position. We're going to take one more breath. And then bend into the knees, come to chair. So maybe your arms are still extended, maybe your arms are still resting on your thighs. Somewhere between. Take one more nice big breath. And inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And release the arms. All right. So we're going to take our sun salutes next. If you've been with me, you know exactly where we're going. If not, just follow along, use your breath, and modify when you need to modify. Skip something if it's just not working out. Right? Let's inhale, stretch the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, take yourself where you're going to fold. Inhale, come halfway up, parallel to the floor-ish. Exhale, step yourself back to down. Plank, sorry. Knees, if you'd like, down to the belly this time. Inhale, roll your shoulders up together on your back, down toward the hip bones. Exhale, release, back to down dog. Inhale, step forward, fold. Halfway up on that next inhale. Exhale into the fold again. And then come all the way up. And exhale the arms. So just like that again. Inhaling as you lift. Exhale to the fold. Inhale halfway up. Exhale plank. All the way down. Inhale cobra. Exhale down dog. Inhale step forward fold. Inhale halfway up. And fold over. All the way. And release. All right. So you got one more just like that. You can add on or not add on or do whatever you want. Make sure you're flowing with your breath. And if you get lost, just take a peek up. Right? But it's the exact same thing we just been doing. Nothing fancy. Right? Yeah. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And you're on your own. Go. All right. We have one more sun salute. We are going to add in here. So take your time, watch your breath, modify what you need to. Right? This time, we're going to inhale, sit into a chair. And then exhale into our fold. Inhale halfway up. Back to our plank. Down into the belly. Cobra. And back to down dog. This time here, though, the right foot steps forward. Inhale. Toes to fingers all the way up. Heel or knee to the mat in the back. Inhale, lift the upper body. Exhale back over into lunge and down dog. Forward into plank. And down. Cobra. And down dog. Left foot forward. Toes all the way up there. Take your time. Heel or knee and lift. Exhale as you come back down. Back to down dog. Forward for plank. Down to the belly. Cobra up again. Back to down dog. Hold here. Drop into child's pose if you need. And find those nice smooth breaths. If you drop down, go ahead and lift back to your down dog. With the next inhale, step forward and fold. Halfway up, inhaling. Back over to the fold again. Into chair. And exhale to release it. Really sweaty. All right. So from here, let's go ahead and take a short step back with the left foot. All 10 toes point forward. So adjust your feet wider, forward or back, sideways if you need, so that both feet can be flat on the floor. Bending into the right knee, and you may need to kind of adjust where your feet are again. Taking the arms up alongside the ears. So again, here we're even on the feet. The body is squared to the top of the mat. Shoulders are relaxing, arms alongside the ears. And then taking the fingers, let's go ahead and interlace them behind the lower back. Pull your shoulder blades together, stretch the knuckles away. Keeping the front of the body open as we come forward. Think belly to thigh. That may or may not be your reality. Keep pulling the shoulder blades together, stretching the knuckles away. Nice and gentle here. See about taking the right leg straighter. Doesn't have to be completely straight. And fold in on top. And it can be a little tricky for the balance, so just be gentle with yourself. Releasing the fingers to the floor. Prop if you need to prop, of course. Little bend into this right knee and come up on the back toes, lifting that left foot away from the floor. So ideally the legs are straight here. Maybe yes, maybe no. Steady on the right foot, press through the left heel. And then maybe you don't need your hands on the floor. And the arms go where the arms need to go. So maybe you're supporting yourself on your thigh, just like we did with both feet on the floor here, right? Maybe you're flying your arms. Take one more breath. And then release it. Give yourself a little second here to just relax. So maybe bend into the knees, relax your shoulders, let your head hang. You can grab opposite elbow and swing a little bit if that's you. Big breaths. And then keeping the knees a little bit bent. On an inhale, roll up through your spine. Up to standing. Right? So again, side same exact idea, right? It may or may not look the same. You might need more assistance, right? So if you need a prop, use a prop. Short step back with the right foot. And again, adjusting the feet until they are in the proper place for you. Toes point forward. Hips are square. This left knee is bent. And then when you're ready, take the arms up. You don't have to add arms, right? So if you have shoulder issues or balance issues or something that makes reaching up not good, then just leave the hands on the hips or support on the thigh. Taking the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Keeping the front of the body open as we come forward. Belly to thigh-ish. Slowly taking the left leg straight. And then releasing the hands to the floor. Little bend in the knee. Up on those right toes. And lift that leg away from the floor. So staying with the fingers on the mat if that's where you need to be. Otherwise, maybe supporting on the thigh or flying the arms. And then release it back into the fold again. So again here, even on the feet, maybe bend in the knees, let yourself rock, let yourself hang. Just kind of relax and take a break-ish. And then again here, little bend in the knees, roll on up through the spine, back to standing. All right, so let's take a nice big step back with the left foot. Straddling on the mat, turning the toes forward. We're gonna bring the hands to the hips. Belly's in, support on the thighs if you need, right? Coming forward, half fold. And sometimes the hip pops. Hanging onto the thighs here as well, just like when the feet were together, right? Shoulders are back. Maybe you have a deeper fold. So the hands can absolutely stay on the thighs if that's where you need to be, right? Otherwise, maybe reach for the floor. Maybe touch the floor. We don't want to reach for it. If it's there, great. If it's not, don't worry about it. So here then, bend the knees if you need. Take the index and middle fingers, wrap them around our big toes. Try and stay even on the four corners of their feet. Elbows bend out to the sides. We want to pull against the toes. Bringing ourselves into a little deeper fold, maybe. If the knees need to be bent, they are. Release the toes. Taking the fingers again to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away here. And then release it to the floor. So here, belly stays in, shoulders stay back. We're going to walk the hands forward. Let the hips come down, kind of like a wide-legged plank idea, but then let your hips sink. Really bring them down. Come back up, back to down dog, or into our straddle. It was forward before, but so forward, hips low, and back. Let's go one more time like that. And maybe you're in a little bit deeper fold. Doesn't matter whether you are or not. Right? Here, see if you're able to turn your fingers to point behind you. So your palms can be flat to the floor. You're just happy to have your fingers on the floor. That's fine either way. See if you can take your fingertips and walk them back. So instead of walking forward, but we don't want to rock back because we don't want to end up on our butt. Keeping the shoulders back. You can even pull against the floor here and draw yourself into a little bit deeper stretch. Listen to your body. There's always a point where that's enough. Release your hands. Walk them around towards your right foot.
And step back into a down dog.
We're going to drop on down to the knees and give yourself a little child's pose. So this is the point we're going to use the wall if you have a wall. Again, if you don't have one, it doesn't matter. You can do the exact same thing without it. Okay? And there's tons of places to be in camel pose, which is where we're going. So you decide. If your knees will not have you standing on top of them, then don't. Right? You can, if you just need a little extra cushion them. But if this is a no-go, then just don't bother. Right? You can do the same thing standing up even, right? So starting off really simple. Right? If you're at the wall, if you do have a wall, you want to just take your feet to the baseboard. Okay? If there's no wall back there, don't worry, it's the same idea. If you've got issues and you want to support to begin to kind of see where your body is, makes sense, taking the hands to either side of the lower back. So we've got a little bit of support back there. And essentially the same thing happens regardless of where the hands are. So we want to tuck our tailbone so that the hips stay over the knees. Pull the shoulders together on the back so the chest opens. And then think lifting your sternum toward the ceiling, right? So you're creating this space. And here's a camel pose, right? It does not have to be super fancy. If you don't need your hands on your lower back for support, you can take them out into cactus. So elbows bent at the shoulders, fingers pointing toward the ceiling. The exact same thing is happening, right? If you like, you can take your arms alongside your ears. Try to keep the chin tucked in so you're just not flapping your head back. And if you're at the wall, see if you touch it. Can you find the wall behind you? Look for it. And then gently release all of that. If it's okay to sit back on your heels, go ahead and sit back on your heels. Just give your spine a little second. So if you were at the wall, you probably, if you took your arms extended, you could probably touch the wall, right? If that's you, inch yourself away from the wall a little bit. Tiny little bit, doesn't have to be a big deal. And then we're gonna do the same thing. Right? So you decide where you need to be, whether you're at the wall, not at the wall, whether you're still supporting, you wanna maybe try and just extend the arms, see what happens. So start where you wanna start, tuck your tailbone, open the chest toward the ceiling. Again, create that space. We don't wanna squish anything back there. And then you add on, if you're adding on. Gently bring yourself out. Sit back on those heels again. So we're going to do it one more time. And if you are at the wall and you still touch the wall, inch away from it a little bit. If you couldn't touch the wall that time, then stay where you are. It's not a big deal, right? It's just this sort of fun way to challenge yourself if it's working out. But again, you don't even need a wall here, right, to get the idea of the pose. So let's go. Up on the knees. Keep the tailbone tucked, the hips over the knees. Support if you need the support 100%. Open your chest toward the ceiling. And open into this back bend. One more breath. Gently making your way out. Sitting back and giving your spine a little rest again. Moving back to the mat if you were at the wall.
Go ahead and make your way into a down dog. Nice and easy. And drop on down to the knees. Give yourself a child's pose. Let's go ahead and come up, and we're going to bring the legs around front back to a seated position. So if you do still have a wall here, not just yet, but we're going to be facing it. So I'm not sure if that'll work out with your, whatever your setup is, but if you got it available, lovely. So otherwise back into this seated position with the legs extended. Toes pointing up, shoulders are down and back. Let's reach the arms. And we're going to fold forward again. So just like we did at the very beginning, and whether you still touch your toes or still don't touch your toes or not. Just see what happens here. And you're probably deeper into the fold than you were earlier. With an inhale, let's come on up again. And release the arms. So here, we're going to take the right foot flat to the floor. And it can absolutely be on the inside. Maybe it can be on the outside. So we want that foot to be flat to the floor. We want to keep the pelvis level, and we want to keep the spine long. So if you can keep all of that and bend your left knee, bringing your heel in front of your right hip, not under it, in front of it, and still have all of that, lovely. So let's get a twist in here. Taking the left arm, wrap it around the leg, right arm behind the back, and rotate around. So when we sort of pulled against the knee earlier, when we did that seated twist, you can do the same thing here, kind of pulling against the leg. We're going to release that back to the middle, unhook the legs, and then switch sides. So the left foot flat, inside or outside. Right, see what works. Pelvis is level, spine is tall, check. Maybe bend the right knee. The pelvis is still level and the spine is still tall. You got that one too. Take the right arm and wrap it around. Left arm behind the body. Sitting tall. Rotating around nice and even. And then releasing that. Unhook the legs. And if you do have your wall available to you, you're going to go to it with your feet at the baseboard, extending the legs out long. Okay. Laying down on the back, wall or no wall. And then make your body as if you were standing up. If you are at a wall, your feet are on the baseboard as if it were the floor. Right? If you don't really have a wall, that's the trick, right? Is to flex your feet, have them hip bone distance apart, and your toes still pointing out toward the ceiling. When you're at the wall, you kind of know. It just helps you know. So we're going to keep the left leg doing what it is and lift the right leg toward the ceiling. You can reach behind the right thigh here. You could take a strap around the back of the thigh. You could take the strap around the ball end of your foot. Okay? But the idea is to keep the rest of the body exactly where it is. Okay? So it's just the right leg that changed. I know sometimes the shoulders do weird things, the hips do weird things. Just see what you can do here. Really plant the left foot as if it were on the floor or it's on the wall. So here, on an exhale, see if you can gently pull that right leg in just a little bit deeper than it was. And then inhale, let it go a little bit. So with the breath, in and out like that.
Working that left leg helps to keep the rest of the body in that stable position. One more time like that, draw it in as good as it's going to get. And then find a middle. Take the left arm out to the left, glue it to the floor so it stayed where it is, and let the right leg start to open out to the right. We want to support the leg with the right arm and keep the left leg planted on the baseboard or on the pretend baseboard, pretend floor. Flex your right foot like crazy. Keep the back of the body just like it was with your legs on the, well, even at the same place. And then coming back to the top, release the right leg. Plant both feet at the baseboard or even them out if you did get a little crooked there. Right back to that standing position. Yeah. Keep the right leg doing what it's doing and lift the left. So same idea here. Using your props or just using your arms around the back of the thigh. The back side stays even. Left leg a little in and a little out. One more time. Finding that neutral place, extend the right arm, support with the left hand, and open to the left. And remember, sacrificing the rest of your body just to get the left toes to the floor doesn't help, right? All it does is mess up the backside. It doesn't increase your stretch in the inner hip. Flex your left foot like crazy, press into your right. And then we're going to bring it back up again, releasing the left foot down by the right. So finding that neutral place if you got a little crooked. Take the feet flat to the floor if they're not already. And gently draw the knees into the chest and rock. So we're going to keep the knees into the chest. Go ahead and open the arms out into a T position, and then let your legs fall over to the right. So just a little different variation of our final twist here. If you need something a little different, feel free to make the adjustments. Let's do just a couple more breaths on this side. Gently bringing yourself back up to the top. And then switching, letting the legs fall to the left. Same idea on this side if you need something a little different. Make it right for you always. Couple more breaths over here.
And then gently back up to the middle. Bringing the knees into the chest again here, rocking. And then really squeeze them in, pulling the forehead toward the knees. Release it out into a full body stretch. And then release that stretch. Make your way to whatever Shavasana is. So if you did have a wall and you were using it and you wanted to take legs up the wall, scoot your bottom down to the baseboard and extend the legs up. Or take them into a soles of the feet together kind of idea. You can do that on the floor as well. If you prefer your feet flat or the soles of your feet together, modify this last position so that your body is super comfortable. And then let it go. Release those muscles. Sink into your mat. Bringing the awareness back solely to the breath again. Release control of it. But stay focused. So if you need to count breaths, count breaths. Just allow yourself to rest after all your hard work. Begin to gently deepen the breath. And gradually restore movement to your body. When you're ready, taking the feet flat to the floor,
Slowly make your way up to seated. Sitting well. We'll bring the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. So I hope you enjoyed that. Remember to join the 5-day challenge. Come on, you can do it in 15 minutes. All right. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week if I don't see you in the middle. Have a good one.